Hi guys, so this is my fourth video in the emotion coaching training series, and it is step 2 of the actual emotion coaching sequence. So in my last video I talked about step 1, which was empathy. So it's basically meeting your child where they are, understanding their emotions, listening to them, information gathering, giving them an opportunity to process their emotions, and letting them feel heard. So that was step 1 of the emotion coaching sequence, and the three steps will take place in the same conversation. So the emotion coaching takes place when your child is ready to talk. So if they've had an anger outburst, you would go through the break-wall cycle first. But anything else, any other emotion, you can coach them through using step 1 with empathy, and then step 2, which we are going to look at today. I'm hoping that you can see that properly, which is setting the limits, setting the boundaries basically. So with the 3 steps, there will be some parts of it that you think, yeah, I can do that easily, and you know, I do that quite consistently, and sometimes we will just do one of them. And I think as parents and as professionals who work with children, setting the limits is probably our bread and butter. Our main approach can often be, this is what you do, these are the rules, and these are why you follow them. So some of you might find this part quite easy. This is the bit that you do when your child is calm. They are nice and receptive to what you have to say because they feel like you have listened to them in the empathy part of the sequence. So they're nice and calm, they are connected, you've established a rapport with them because you have listened to their emotions, and they feel safe to accept guidance from you. So like I've said before in this sequence of training sessions, if you like, emotion coaching is high in empathy and high in guidance. We have expressed lots of empathy in step 1. Step 2 is still about empathy, it's still about connecting with the child, but it is high in guidance as well. So the first thing we are doing when we are setting limits is we are establishing a rapport with the child. We've already done that by connecting with them. So like I've said, they'll be more receptive to hearing what we have to say, hearing our guidance. As adults, we could probably understand how little we want to accept guidance from somebody who is telling us that this is how it is. It instantly makes us dig in our heels, and children are not a lot different from us. They don't really want to be told what to do, but they do want to be guided. They really do. They want, you know, it makes them feel secure to know that the adult who is looking after them can guide as well. So we've established our rapport. Going back to the vagal tone, healthy vagal tone, the vagus nerve that is in the brainstem that regulates emotions in our body, needs to see a calm face, and it needs to hear a calm tone. So we speak to the child, we set the tone of the conversation by being calm. We're not going in being stroppy, we're not going in looking down on the child. We are literally setting the tone so that they can respond accordingly. When we are calm, they are calm as well. And this is the main bulk of this part of emotion coaching. We are setting the limits. So some behaviours are unacceptable. So this is where we are teaching our child that some behaviours are unacceptable, because when you are giving them the rules, be very clear what the rules are. So you are saying, you know, it's not okay for you to do that, but also tell them why. And if we can wrap the narrative, if we can basically tell it them in a way that suggests that we have their best interests at heart, they are more likely to learn the rules and let the rules embed in their inner narrative. So for example, if a child is trashing their bedroom every time they can't have something, they are getting so angry that they are wrecking their bedroom, the rules there are very clear. It's not okay for you to damage a property, full stop. That is a clear rule that is carried on throughout their lives. There will be consequences if you damage property. That's part of the rule and that's part of this section, but also it's important to tell them why. Why is it not okay to damage property? And it's not just about the consequences, it's about being a good person and being a good citizen and being a caring and lovely person. So we want to teach them that it's not okay, excuse me, it's not okay to damage property because you are a kind person, and kind people don't want to damage things that belong to themselves or other people, because, and in this instance, if it's their room that they are damaging, or if it's in school and it's a classroom that they are damaging, because people have paid for that for you, because we care about you so much and we want you to have a lovely environment and we want you to have a lovely space. We're not guilt tripping, we are just literally telling them that this is why it's not okay for them to do this. So we will say to them, people want you to have that lovely space, so it's very important that we look after it because we care about people. And this is where you will kind of create that inner narrative for them that they won't have yet. So even if you don't believe this next part is true, they definitely won't believe this next part is true. We are moving them on. So you might say to them, you are such a kind person, you don't want to hurt people, you don't want to hurt property, I know how kind you are, I know how considerate you are, so you want to look after your property. You will also add into this part that you get, again, same as step one, you get that it's not always easy, but you believe in them. You kind of, and this will come more in step three, you're kind of you're empowering them. And like I've said, giving them that inner voice that says, I am a kind person, I am learning how to manage my emotions, but we're not guilt tripping. So we won't lay that point on too thick. We will just simply state that you're a good person and we know that you like to keep things, safe, and we know that you are working on those emotions so that you can do that. But the bulk of this one is about setting limits, and it is about telling them that this is the rule because, and the rules kind of have to make sense to the child, especially if they're little. So make sure that you embed in those rules why it is important for them that they do that. You know, we want you to have nice toys. It's important that you don't damage your property because then you'll have nothing to play with. It's that kind of thing, and we want you to have fun. We want you to have things that you can use in your room. We want you to have paper that you can draw on. We want you to have pens that you can colour with, and if you break them, we can't buy them because it costs money and we can't afford to keep replacing things when you damage them, and it's a good lesson for you to learn. So this section is very important, that we give high guidance and we tell them that their behaviour, that certain behaviours are not acceptable, and we tell them why. And that is the final point I have on my board here. So to sum up, we're setting the limits, we're setting the rules, and we're setting the boundaries. So the child is being highly guided by the adult. This is a part that, like I said, might come quite naturally to a lot of us, but avoid, if you can, making it a telling off session. We don't want them climbing back up. We've calmed them down with empathy. We don't want to climb them back up. We are simply, very calmly stating that these are the rules and that they have to follow them. Okay, so that is step 2. Step 3, which I will put up in my next video, will talk about how to move the child on. So it's another session that is high in guidance, and it is moving the child on from the rules and how they can do it differently in the future. Hope it's been useful for you guys, and I'll catch you later. Bye bye.